Hello, Speed Gaming. We've got an exciting race in front of us, an HMG, Hybrid Major Glitches. We have on stream today Vortex of Doom and MM2 NES Cartridge, two very solid players of HMG in the game in general. So it should be exciting to watch, and I think in total in the race we have 9 players. Very many good HMG players as well. So it should be a fun race to watch. I know personally I'm excited to see this race. And in case anyone here is new to HMG and isn't totally familiar with the mode, the main things you need to know is at moments it'll look a lot like a very glitched mode that you don't understand if you don't know a lot of glitches, and other times it's gonna look more like the render you're used to seeing if you watch mostly the competitive rule set and minor glitches in those modes. Looks like we have a pendant Eastern. Also two different routes that we're seeing from our players here. But hybrid major glitches, basically just overworld glitches, meaning pretty much if something is in the overworld, whether it be dungeons, just different standing items, or just places to get into, you can get to it, and it's in logic. You also start off with boots because it lets you do way more glitches and tricks, and way more things, like where you can clip into way more of like the slopes and other places in the game. This really opens up your options and makes for a more fun glitched mode. So when our players are in the overworld, at moments it'll look very different. You can see here, Dex is already going for a clip. I think they were going for probably the Highly Island clip there, but it could have been a different one. Fortunately, they didn't quite get it. But that's gonna happen. People are gonna miss some clips here. Everyone misses some clips, so you'll see some missteps here and there. But as long as no one hard locks or has a major soft lock, we're fine. Okay, and Vortex is getting on the third bump. So what Vortex here is doing is they're clipping into the slope and setting up a... They teleported, basically they clipped into the slope using the boots, and now they're going to like Highly Island to get the item that they just spotted. Okay, they're almost too far to the left. Getting an only lamp is super nice, definitely helpful. But yeah, so for HMG, it's mostly just going to look like... In the overworld, you're going to see a lot of overworld clipping. Basically, you can get to everything from overworld, more or less. There are some exceptions in some things that you can get to, but they aren't actually in logic. But then when you're actually like in dungeons or in caves, there's only a few glitches that are allowed that are not normally allowed in like a minor glitch rule set. So, and we see MM going for one of the newer setups for clipping into on the Death Mountain. There are multiple different ways to do it. This is a very good one. It clips you right into the front of Old Man. So now MM2 doesn't have the lamp yet that Vortex has from like Highly Island. So having to do this in the dark, but you know that's no problem for any of the players that will be watching today or whom are in this race. Also, you very often do dark Old Man in this mode. It happens all the time. So as I mentioned, yeah. You're going to see a lot of overworld clips, but when they're underworld, there's only a few underworld glitches that are allowed. And when those come up, we'll point them out. They mostly affect how you route Swamp, Mire, and Hera. And also a little bit how you get into into Pod. And what your options are in Ice Palace. So those are the dungeons that are affected by the allowed underworld glitches. But it's mostly in the overworld where you're going to see a lot of clipping, a lot of glitches, a lot of different route changes than what you would see in your typical minor competitive rule set. And MM2 here is going to go here to Graveyard Ledge, which is always a really great option early on because it's free bombs, and this is a good way to get this check done. It's something I always love to do early on in my routing. And a sword. A sword is so nice in this mode, not just because one is a weapon, but it allows you to get spin speed. So having a hook shot or sword to get spin speed or hook speed in this mode makes a lot of the clips that you can do in Overworld a lot easier, a lot more free, a lot faster. It just really helps. And Vortex are getting, unfortunately, annoying rock RNG. That happens. It sucks. But you're right next to Old Man's. Quick save and quit if you want to go back and do it again. Looks like Vortex is going to move on and not worry about that clip. So it happens. You're going to mess up some clips and some tricks in HMG in any glitch mode. The main thing is just don't mess them up really bad. And MM2 is going for the Tam Swam. to get into either Keenstone or Backup Escape. Probably Backup Escape, because Keenstone's not, in my opinion, really worth it. So, yep, now you can do Backup Escape without the glove, using that Tam Swam. It's a trick basically you can do with fake flippers or flippers in the water. It lets you get into a lot of different places in the overworld. But it's really nice for getting into Backup Escape without gloves. And it looks like Vortex might be our first player to, I think, head into CAC here. I believe MM2 went right by CAC area earlier. Well, went around it, essentially. So, it's a pretty popular routing choice, a kind of meme choice for a lot of people in this category, other glitch modes, to just avoid CAC as much as possible, or as long as possible. Even though, like, you probably should do it. It is that in HMG, because with the glitches you have so much available, you have a massive, absolutely massive Sphere 1, and even your Sphere 2 later on, they're usually pretty massive, so you have so many options in front of you that it can feel fun, or it can be an incentive maybe to not check all of your Sphere 1, because there's so much of it, and so that can mean you can choose to put off CAC. It's still generally not, like, the best thing if you were really trying to win, but you can. And people will definitely go for it pretty often. But with how big the spheres are in hybrid major glitches, like, you have a lot of routing options. You can get away with skipping a lot of Sphere 1, or you might get hurt by not checking Sphere 1. You just have a lot of ways you can go. Okay, there is a glove. Okay, that makes... A glove in HMG is not required. Like, you can get through the whole game without any gloves. And pretty much check everything with a couple exceptions. Logically, you need gloves for certain things, even though you can get around them. But a glove makes getting around the map so much easier. Okay, that was another glove. Okay, we've already seen both gloves. That's okay. That's gonna make the HMG routing a little bit easier. Because Ice Palace is still locked by mitts logically in this mode. You don't need the mitts, but it's logically required for Ice Palace to be in logic. And it's also useful, it's also logically required for Smiths and Purple Chest. But again, you can do those without mitts. And just having the glove and the mitts makes some of your Dark World entrances, it makes it easier to get into Dark World without having to do, more time consuming or longer clips sometimes. So having the mitts or a glove is helpful. And it makes your life a little bit easier at a few spots. It speeds up a few things, even though it's not needed. And another thing to note is part of overworld glitches. Yes, in this mode, like flippering or water walking is in logic. So, like, you don't need flippers to put these checks in logic. So, pretty common to do Ice Rod Cave. And your flipper checks early on is in logic. You could have progression here. So, it's just good solid routing. And yeah, we have seen 3 bottles already, which is a little crazy. And one risk MM2 has by doing this a bit early. Well, they're going to choose not to do Zero or Zero's Edge at all, which is reasonable. You can't even grab the Zero's Edge item even if you see it. And then it doesn't make it as bad. If you have to come back with Zero later, you can do it then. Okay, now MM2 sees the lamp. Good chance they come out and they come and grab that later after a save and quit. Yeah, Waterfall Fairy did not have a whole lot, just some bombs, unfortunately. I believe we saw MM2 do this earlier, but Vortex here is going for the clip into desert area. Something that you often do pretty early on the seed. As you can get the item on Desert Ledge, you can combine this into chucking Aginas, K45 afterwards, you can go into Desert, which, is a crystal, so we can go ahead and do the whole front of Desert. And in Vortex's case, they can very easily do the back, except they don't have a weapon. If they had a weapon, Vortex could very easily complete Desert right now. Because you already have a fire source from like Hylia, you have a glove, so it's even easier to get to the back, although the glove is not required. And you have boots, because you always start with boots in this mode. And we have an early Moon Pearl. So Dark World access, very easy. You're not going to see any really scary Moon Pearl positions. I shouldn't say scary, because in HMG, there's only a handful of like really bad Moon Pearl locations. That's one major thing about HMG is that, unlike other glitch modes, HMG restricts most of the really bad Pearl locations. So like, There's only a handful of locations that aren't fantastic and that are kind of slow to get to, and there's ways to make those checks faster. But there's ways to route them well once you know what they are. But in this seed, we got an early Moon Pearl, so I expect MM2. I think they came. I know they did a Ginas earlier, so they may not go to desert for a little while. But you would expect them to check desert area, especially with it being a crystal they can beat at this point. Before they start doing really convoluted pole location checks. Oh yeah, Vortex's stream is it's a little weird. Oh, we can see the main content at least. Yeah, that's the biggest thing about doing desert right now for Vortex is no weapon. Vortex has not been to Graveyard Ledge, where the sword was that MM2 found. Also interesting that MM2 is choosing to go ahead and do, well, not necessarily wrong. It's not as reasonable to do Tylum here in Hera. It can feel a bit slow, obviously. You might be able to get around it later, but Hera's a crystal. It makes some sense. Could be a bit slower than other options later. Maybe other options would come up because Hera locks, the hook shot in some way. So not unreasonable. Thanks, Zaku, for the fix. Vortex's stream is looking better now. And yeah, the thing about Hera is in your first two checks, the map chest and the basement cage check, they can actually not include the big key or the small key. In this case, MM2 did get the small key, so they were able to take to the basement. They actually got the big key out of it, which it wasn't even a guarantee that big key would be there, because one of the underworld glitches allowed in this mode is that you can clip logically from the Mire area into Hera, and when you clip into Hera from Mire, that puts you in the top half of Hera, meaning you can get around needing a big key. So oftentimes the seed will actually logically expect you to clip from Mire into Hera to actually get access to the upper half of Hera and access to the boss. So big key and small key basically can be anywhere in Hera because of that. So oftentimes people come to Hera early just to see, what the logic is for getting into Mire. But in this case, getting into Hera, I mean. But in this case, we were able to get into Hera really easily. The small key led us to the big key. So very vanilla Hera today. Yeah, it looks like Vortex is going to clean up Hobo here. Nice. Unfortunately, MM2 fell off Moldorm. HMG doesn't make your boss fights any easier, unfortunately. In fact, if anything, you can often get to different bosses even earlier in the game with less equipment. So arguably, your boss fights, you have an increased chance of having, low equipment boss fights in this mode. Or low equipment, Dark World traversal or different dungeons that you're traversing. And one thing to know is that clip Vortex just did. There's a couple of different versions of that clip to clip in from the lower mountain to Hera. But Hammer on Moldorm. Okay, that is on Crystal Moldorm, but okay, that would have been bad for me, because personally, for me, I would have never done and Flute on Spec Rock. Okay, so this is a comment on the Hera situation. Personally, I would have never done basement because it's slow. Oh, I wouldn't have likely done it, so I would have waited till I hopefully got hookshot later, or I could have clipped into Mire to Hera later for routing efficiency reasons, hoping I can do Hera faster later. MM2 chose to not do that, seeing it was a Crystal Hera, there were items up above, and it paid off huge, because Hammer was still typically very much required and still very helpful in this mode. So that early Hammer, Vortex may not get for a while, because Vortex may reasonably choose to hold off on Hera until they have a hookshot, or they can clip a Mire into Hera later, and do the upper half of Hera that way. So It might be a while for some of our racers, including Vertex, to get that hammer. But we'll see. But the Oldie Flute also is super nice. Also a good point. Vertex still has no sword yet from Graveyard Ledge or anywhere. So that's honestly one of the most helpful things in M2 right now is having that Oldie sword. You can actually kill things, along with having some easier clip setups that Vertex does not have yet. And bow. Okay. Nice. Looks like Vertex is going to choose to clip into pod. So this is called Kiki Skip. This is one of the forward glitches and hybrid glitches that are in the underworld, so caves and dungeons, that you pretty much need to know. So in this mode, pod is in logic in sphere 1 because you can get into mountain logically with basically no items. So mountains in logic is sphere 1, and you can do this clip which just requires a bomb and the boots you start with to get into pod. So pod is in logic in sphere 1. So you will often see people go into pod very early because oftentimes there's some good progression there. And if pod's a crystal, it's good to go ahead and just do it early because you have to get the big key from pod in the back or wherever it's at anyway. But MM2 getting the bow from right side and all these item checks, definitely pretty nice. The biggest question for MM2 is whenever they get over the desert, but pretty soon they're going to be funneled to not great checks, so they'll head over the desert looking for Pearl pretty soon, most likely. So I doubt it'll be long for MM2 gets that Pearl. What now I'm wondering is when does Vertex go to Harrow for the hammer, and when do they get a weapon? Yeah, Mike, I know I personally wouldn't get the hammer forever. So pod was in cave state. Since you clipped into pod from a cave, the game still thought we were in a cave when Vertex entered pod a moment ago. So we had to leave the dungeon and then walk back in to make this actually like normal pod state. So now the game knows this is pod. This is actually a crystal dungeon. Otherwise, basically some funky stuff would happen. And there's the fillet. Definitely the item Vertex was looking for. So two reasons why this clip is nice, this clip that MM2 just did and Vertex just did, is that one, you get the pod really soon, and there's a fast way to get into pod. And two, you're able to skip Kiki. So this is in logic with Outer Moon Pearl. You don't have to pay the money for Kiki. You don't have to take that long route through the pod screen, through all the hedges. So it makes pod not a bad option to have to like double dip later. So it's pretty reasonable to often come here without a bow or a hammer. Unfortunately though, Vertex also doesn't have a bow. MM2 does have that bow from Spiral Cave. So if Vertex could here, either do however they're trying to do. They could Mimic Clip. I don't know if they have a potion. They have lots of bottles, but I don't know if they have a potion or not. I expect Vertex someone who can Mimic Clip if they want. So it looks like Vertex is going to go for a Mimic Clip or potion glitch. Right side I think is two keys. You're right. So that'd be a waste of time. So no reason to do that. I was not looking at that while they were racing. Too busy blabbering away. So that's actually good news for Vertex. That means that the bow... Well, actually, no. The bad news is MM2 can full clear the dungeon right now. They have everything to put it in logic. Lamp, hammer, and bow. Vertex doesn't have bow or hammer. Not a huge deal, because, as I said, getting back into pod in this mode is not that bad. It's a lot faster than it is in other modes, so having double dip pod... Okay, only hook shot. We're getting a lot of great items. Almost doesn't even feel like an HMG seed at this point. Feeling pretty minor glitchy with all options in front of us. I mean, we have glove, we have mitts available to us essentially. We have hammer, moon pearl's not hard to get. Hook shot, flute, bow. You could almost route this little vanilla if you wanted. Yeah, the bad news for Vertex, though, is they have that Moon Pearl. So because they have that Moon Pearl, they have way more options in the seed of where to go. So they have the hook shot. Actually, no, I didn't think that the hook shot is really good news for Vertex. Because you can get the Hera really fast. So they'll probably do Hera a lot sooner now and get the hammer. So that's actually a huge blessing huge busting for Vertex to get that hook shot. And for any other players in this race, because, yeah, I wouldn't have done Hera without the hook shot. I would not have done Tyler Room, so that'll save a lot of races here from potentially not last locating, but delaying that hammer for a long time. A good thing for MM2 having low health is they can pretty easily death warp here, then go beat Helma. Samaria as well. Pod has some good items, Hookshot and Samaria. Very nice. Very nice items. Oh yeah, MM2 did not do the hammer yump. So a thing about HMG is that because you're in cave state, you can actually open up essentially all the locked doors. So it's pretty common convention to open up the very front locked door so that you can save a key when you enter back in, which MM2 did. And I think Vortex did too. I'm not sure. But it means that if you hammer yump the back and you open up that front door, you're able to essentially skip 2 small keys. And if the right side, which is bow locked, has those 2 small keys, you can skip right side and just save a lot of routing time in pod. So that's a common routing thing that people go for because it's just free time save if you can get it. You know, if you get the right luck. But because MM2 did not hammer yump the back, they will have to go right side to grab a small key to then go beat Helma. Whereas if they just hammer yumped the back, they could have skipped opening the locked door, saved a small key for Helma, and then skipped having to go right side right now. And your Vortex here is going to go east Light World. Fortunately, they I think had hit up or another wrong input. So they'll have to try that again. Yeah, I thought Vortex was fine. It looked fine to me too. I didn't see where Vortex locked in. I'm just guessing that maybe Vortex didn't even soft lock. It looked fine to me too. But yeah, if Vortex hit up, then they would have to reset. Oh yeah, and Vortex can't even get hammer yet. No weapon. That is so annoying. That sword and graveyard ledge is paying off huge for MM2. Since no other swords popping up, that sword out of graveyard ledge is paying off big time right now. The bow was in Spiral Cave. So Vortex will have that bow in just a sec. They won't be able to kill Moldorm, Moldorm has the hammer, which is unfortunate. So Vortex right now is trying to find a sword. Amongst other things, but a sword would be huge for Vortex. But we know there's not one over here. And that bow doesn't open up anything directly right now, because you'd be crazy to go to Pendant Eastern when you have, like, basically the whole game open to you right now. Being that, you know, Vortex has Moon Pearl. You can go a lot of different places, logically, in this mode. I don't know if Helma has an item or not, so we'll find out. Imagine counting the items. Imagine. Wait, okay. That might be helpful. You don't necessarily need a medallion to get into Total Rock. You can clip in other ways. But for Meyer, it's required to get into Meyer. You can't clip into Meyer some other way. But even if Meyer is a pendant, you still often can want to be in there because logically the HMG requires you to do a clip from Meyer into Hera, and then clip from Hera into Swamp Palace. Since Swamp Palace often doesn't have the key at the very front like a normal mode. You often have to clip from Harry into Swamp, and in order to have a small key, HMG logically expects you to clip from Mire into Harry into Swamp to then get access to Swamp. Although you don't have to do that. There's ways to sequence break around going to Mire first and just go straight to doing the Harry at a Swamp clip. But my point is, we do need medallions. Unfortunate for Vortex there with that clip as well. That clip's basically the same as the Light World one that we saw a moment ago. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, the point is, you're probably going to want medallions to open up Mire, but we don't really care about Turtle Rock. It's possible Mire's a pendant and we can get away with avoiding it, but I'd say more seeds require you to go into Mire than not. Our Vortex pushed up at the time. That makes sense, yeah. If you hit left, down, and right, you're pretty much safe. Okay, that's good news for Vortex. They did Grave Village and finally got that sword. I mean, they did know it was there, but they found and there's so many checks to do. So reasonable they didn't have it yet. But now they have that sword. Okay, nice. They're going to go for the Tomb Raider. MM2 has not checked. Ah, that's unfortunate. They might have forgotten the setup for it. If you haven't done it in a while, it's a bit tricky. So, yeah. But Vertex may go for Hera soon. And now they have options. Where are they headed? Oh, flute activation. Looks like they're going to activate the flute. They've already done Kakariko. Let's see if Vertex could go Hera. Could go finish Desert. I don't know if they got both items of Desert or not. I know they got the Pearl from Desert. So MM2 needs to go to Desert soon. Which now they have a flute that could incentivize them a little bit. Although in this mode, nah, it would incentivize you. You're just going to walk down there if you want to go there at this point. If you're already in Kakariko. Just walk down and clip probably. That's actually going to be easy. That's probably faster than fluting, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's pretty sure it would be. So Vortex here could actually get to Zora's Ledge and Zora. Vortex has enough money for Zora and has the bow, which makes it easy to splash delete. You can also get to Zora's Ledge by setting up a water rock and then clipping up to the item, but that's kind of an annoying clip to do. It's a little slow. So you see a lot of people not go for that clip. Vortex also getting the mitts, which will make a lot of the routing easier. Mitts, flute, hookshot, moon pearl, sword, Samaria. You have a lot of good ability, and you can get in the Dark World so easily now without even having to clip. But Vertex here can do can get easy access to Zero's Ledge and can do Zero with having money. MM2 is now heading over to Desert, saying no to the heart container. Honestly, that's reasonable. So that way you can death warp, and you already have 9 hearts. So honestly, I think not getting the heart is actually the better play, so that you can death warp, being that we have no mirror. But MM2 will get the Moon Pearl now, and I also expect they'll probably go ahead and beat Desert here. They only have a Samaria and a sword to finish it off, but they can also do NMG strats with the bow, I suppose. That is also an option. Maybe we'll get an NMG fight from MM2 today. I don't remember if right side was just mapping compass or if there was an item. So we'll see. Okay, no, there was a big key, so probably map a compass in this chest, and then either the boss or big chest has the other item. Okay, Zora's Ledge isn't anything, so MM2 is not missing out there, but we'll see if Zora has anything good. Okay, a single arrow. So MM2 is missing out on nothing. MM2 might go back to those checks later, but as of right now, they're missing absolutely nothing from avoiding those areas. And this will be Keenstoom from Vortex. MM2 is cleaning up the rest of the desert area, doing K45 here. And now they're going to clip back. I think they'll do Checkerboard Cave now, and then go beat Desert, it looks like, which makes a whole lot of sense. Very popular way to route this area. Very good way to route this area. And then Vortex is going to do backup escape with the gloves. Not the glitchy way the M2 did, but the Tam Spam earlier to get back here. So we saw its items earlier. I believe they were nothing of importance. We haven't seen the front of escape or uncles yet. But you have seen backup escape. Okay, this is probably going to be Hera from Vortex, which would be good news for them to get the hammer. I'm assuming that's what this is. I might be wrong. Okay, I am wrong. There are other things they can do here. They can go into Dark World here and do some other things. And they do a Moon Pearl. This might be Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny. Yeah, okay, we're going to go for this clip again. Let's hope they get it. Okay, they got it. Nice. See Vortex get that clip this time. And now Vortex can go do Hookshot Cave, which we have not seen, and Super Bunny. And then from there, they can either clip into Total Rock if they want. They could also go down to Catfish, or they could even go to Skull Woods. Skull Woods would be probably the more weird choice, but then we have no Fire Rod. But TR would make some sense. Or Catfish area down to maybe Pyramid area would make sense. Or you can just save and quit and not do any of those things. Okay, what kind of fight will MM2 do today? Will we see bow strats? Yes, we'll see the AMG fight. Nice. Here we go. Okay, now we'll see the hammer. That's probably what I would do here. I can't do the bow strats at all. I don't blame MM2 at all. I appreciate they tried it a little bit before switching to hammer. Still not a very fast fight, obviously. It still takes like 4 hammer hits, I believe, per landmo. So not exactly the quickest fight. But if you're not great with it with arrows, this is as fast or faster. Vortex is checking Catfish area next. Okay, a blue mail. Honestly, not the best thing, because yeah, you won't die in boss fights and stuff or in overworld, but you don't have no mirror, so death hoping's now a huge pain for MM2. So that's arguably a little bit unfortunate. Okay, Catfish has nothing. In this mode, you tend to route Catfish in a lot earlier, because you can clip down to it from Dark Mountain really easily. So this is very common routing. Okay, Vortex choosing to not go to Pyramid area and check Pyramid Fairy or Pyramid Ledge. In this mode, Pyramid Fairy is essentially always in logic if you have Mirror or if you have Moon Pearl. You don't... Okay, so TR and Ice Palace are pendants. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we do have to go to Swamp Palace today. We do have to go to Misery Mire. So we do need flippers. We do need flippers. The hookshot was required because Swamps of Crystal. We do need Ice Rod. We do need whatever medallion Mire requires. So basically, the only thing we don't need is the Ice Rod. And whatever medallions are not needed to get into Mire. You'd often clip. MM2 did not go to Mire area, did they? I don't think they did. I wasn't quite watching. No, yeah, I think they did. They did, didn't they? Too busy babbling on about whatever Vortex was doing. Did MM2 go to Mire area? Okay, and now they're going to Vu, which makes sense. Oh yeah, he started there, which makes sense if you have Flute and Mitts. Because I was wondering, like, did we see the medallion requirement for Meyer? Anybody know? I mean, both plays in here in Vu, doing the Vu check, which makes a lot of sense. Thieves of the Crystal, so it definitely makes sense to come here early. Knock this out, and you have Hammer, so you can guarantee do big chests as well. I'll find out what my medallion requirement was whenever Vortex is over there later. Okay, there's a second sword. Okay, that's nice. Hopefully Vortex picks it up as well pretty soon. Having 2 swords is obviously much better than 1 sword. I also still hoping for Vortex to go back to Hera soon to get that hammer, but I don't blame them for not prioritizing it yet. You have so many options. I mean, Hera's a good option because it is a crystal. You can do it pretty quickly. Get a couple of an item or 2 out of it. But you can also easily combine it later, maybe. There's lots of chances to do Hera in the seed, so you might feel like, maybe I'm better off going somewhere else where I can get more items quickly. So, you know, tough choice. I think where our plays will go after Thieves Town. You could go to Skull Woods area, but in this mode, I personally would not do it, that Fire Rod. Like, I would wait a while. You have better options that you can full clear faster. Plus, that's an objectively correct option. You could go into GT. You don't have Fire Rod, but you can, in M2's case, they have Hammer Hook Shot Samaria. That's pretty good for going into GT, because in this mode, once you have Moon Pearl, GT is in Logic. You do have to beat GT still to win the game. You still need to beat GT in order to get Ganon access. And you still have to go through GT to get your big key. So because of that, there's so many item checks in GT. You have to check a lot of those checks to get your big key anyway. It makes sense to go into GT as soon as you have, some access to left or right side. In this case, in MM2's case, other than not being able to do Compass Room, they can full clear GT. So that's a play I would expect from them reasonably soon. Vortex is not as good of an option because they don't have Hammer. The Hammer from Moldorm and Hera. But if they get that, I could see them going to GT soon as well. Otherwise, we're starting to kind of get into some grosser checks for these players of like things they could have checked earlier. It would have been more efficient, but they didn't. Or just doing like some slow overworld checks, or doing like Uncle in front of Escape. So Thieves Town had no real progression. I mean, we had to beat it. It was a crystal, and that's crystal number 1 for Vertex. It will be crystal 4. Wait, did MM2? Never mind. MM2's fine. Never mind. Everything's fine over there. Okay, is Vortex going? Vortex doesn't have the hammer, so they can't even get the Master Sword from hammer pegs. You could. Actually, no, that does not make the clip in there. I mean, if you had mirror, there's a new way that you can get in there, but basically, there's not a way to get in there with that hammer. That I would expect Vortex to do, so that's unfortunate. Looks like Vortex is going to do Smith here. We do have the mid, so this is in Logic and is not a pain in the butt to check. And since Vortex started at Vu area and is now heading south in Dark World. This makes a reasonable amount of sense. And then you have Flute, so after you save and quit, you can just flute over and turn in the Smith. So this is pretty reasonable to do at this point. And in Vortex's case, they don't have Hammer and a couple other progression items. It makes even more sense to do this check, as you're even in more need of progression than MM2 is. See, MM2 needs Fire Rod, Flippers, and then whatever medallion Myra is. And that should be it. Whereas Vortex needs all of those. Vortex doesn't have any medallions. And also needs the hammer from Muldorm. Okay, where was MM2 headed, and where will Vortex go? So they're both going to turn on the Smiths here. I like this play by both of them. Okay, MM2 is going to wait a little bit longer, it looks like. Where was MM2 going? MM2 didn't do Hype Cave yet. That's right. They started from Meyer, went to Stumpy, and then went up to Vu. So they did not do Hype Cave yet. So this makes sense. Clean this up. Knock this out. They also might... Oh, a sword out of the shovel spot. I forget where we even got shovel. Was that in Thieves? Or Vu area? I don't remember. Either way, that's good for Vortex to have a second sword. MM2 might check that soon. Get tempered. But still, good news to have a second sword. It was D-Sound. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Got it. That's what I was thinking. So, D-Sound did lead to a little more progression for us. Well, maybe not progression, but to a useful item that we would like to have. And I don't totally love this play by Vortex, because now you really can't go do Desert yet, because you have the Smith with you. If you beat the Crystal Dungeon with the Smith, you lose the Smith. So I would prefer to see Vortex turn the Smith and then route this in, because now if you want to go to Desert, I mean, you can still go there after this and go back down and clip into it, but it would have been nicer to just, it would have been a better flow and a little bit more efficient to have done the back of Desert after Checkerboard Cave. Okay, be careful here, M2. Please don't hard lock. I also like how they're doing it with the Smith. Okay, nice. Nice job at M2. Yeah, and now Vortex. Okay, nothing in Pyramid Fairy, which is good for Vortex because they chose not to do it earlier after Catfish, which would have been the best time to do it in this situation. That's good news for Vortex. Yeah, this is where Vortex ideally should have added Desert after Checkerboard Cave. They probably realized that when they were doing it, and were like, "Oh wait, I should turn on the Smith before I came over here." But you know, not a big deal. The bigger question is, when does the Vortex go to Hera, finish that off, and get the hammer? That's still the bigger thing that we're waiting to find out about. Okay, what is MM2 going for? I'm not familiar. Oh, they're going to go for a fake flute, it looks like. Or something else. Yeah, fake flute. Okay, fortunately didn't get the fake flute. I wonder where they were wanting to go. Okay, is M2 going to turn on in the Smith now? Maybe? Okay, now M2 will turn on the Smith. Good. So I personally think this is when M2 should go to Ganon Sour. You can beat almost the whole thing, knock it out. Do a whole lot of checks. We're looking for Big Key to get some progression. being that we still need Fire Rod, Flippers, maybe a Medallion for Meyer. That's what I would do. To me, that seems like the most conventional play to do at this point. Another bulk check option is you could do Uncle and Defensive Escape. But obviously that's not like... I think Ganon and DT is a stronger play. You have to do it at some point in the seed anyway. Okay, what's the Medallion? Bombos. Okay, we need Bombos as well. So for MM2, after they do Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny here, their options either going to be they could then after that follow up by going to TR either by clipping in or through the front. They could clip down to Catfish over Skullwoods. I don't see them doing Skullwoods or Catfish because Skullwoods, you've done everything south to Skullwoods. You don't have a Fire Rod to beat it, and with Catfish, you only can check Catfish. You can't route it with anything else that you haven't either done or that you just have to, a mirror to combine it with Zora area. So I expect MM2 will probably end this with a TR dip for items. Okay, never mind. They are going to Catfish. Also completely reasonable. It doesn't take that long. And TR can be a pretty time-consuming thing to do. So totally reasonable. I do like this play, actually. Good cleanup. Remaining checks. And Vortex here probably going in front of Escape. Did we see Uncle from Vortex, or did we see Uncle at all? I want to say no, but I wasn't looking. Okay, M2 is going for its Tam Swam here. I'm trying to think which one. I'm pretty sure he did. It would have made sense that he went to... Okay, so Vortex there was setting up... You see they unlocked that door to the back of Escape. That's one of the ways you can sequence break, having to clip from Mire to Hera to Swamp. And you can simplify it by just doing a clip from Hera into the sewers of Escape to get a key from the key rat. And then you can basically go die or mirror it back to Hera and then clip into Swamp. Which if you're not familiar with that trick, that might sound really confusing and slow, but that can actually be a lot faster than clipping from Maya to Hera to Swamp in certain situations, so that can be a nice setup to have. So I see why Vortex did it. I often do it. Everyone often does that trick. It can be something that saves you a lot of time and can make routing less frustrating sometimes. So nice to have it set up. Oh, you think MM2 is stuck in their wall? That would be unfortunate. They might need to save and quit here. I'm trying to think where that goes. I don't know. I don't know that what exactly that goes in the. I don't know what this lets you clip to. If I saw the map, I'd probably know, but I don't know right now. I don't see this Tam Swam too often. Okay, yeah, same correct makes sense. And then Vortex finally gets their hammer. They've got to be, they probably aren't super happy about that because they knew they could have gotten it a little while ago. But at the same time, I'm sure they're finally happy to have the hammer. Now they can go finish up Pod, and now they know GT is a good option. And now they just have an item that they very much were required to have because of Pod and potentially just some auto checks of the game and Ganon's Tower left side. So yeah, this makes sense. Vortex is going to go straight to Pod. There's one island left in Helma, which Vortex knows. And this is the crystal dungeon they have to beat. So this will, assuming AM2 doesn't beat another dungeon where Vortex is doing this, this will tie both the players up in crystal count. Okay, this looks like the GT play from MM2. This should be GT play. This should be. GT is such a strong play at this point. Yeah, okay. This is the GT play. So, Obviously, we can do everything but compass room right now. We can do the whole entire climb if Bicky's not in compass room. So we're still looking for Bombos to get into Mire. We need Flippers to get into Swamp. We also need the Bombos to get into Swamp as well, due to the way the HMG logic works. Okay, there was a third sword for MM2. They probably won't get the sword from the shovel check, which Vortex did. So Vortex would probably get that sword later as well. It will also get tempered instead of doing the hammer peg. So that's good news for both of our players here, that they're both going to probably have a third sword. Or they'll both probably end up with the third sword. So that's good news. So shouldn't be too much of a sword disparity for a whole lot longer, since Vortex probably won't take too much time to go into GT at this point. And I would expect him to probably go full left here, knock it all out. Even if there's an oldie big key for GT, allowing you to do the climb, you probably go ahead and full clear what you can of GT. Being that you still need 3 items for go mode, again, Flippers, Fire Rod, and Bombos. So this will probably be as much of a full clear as MM2 can do. Okay, Ice Rod. So if we get Fire Rod, then we can go to TR and get Green Pendant, right? So that might be a play later. We need a Fire Rod first. Or Fire Rod could even just be in Green Pendant TR. That's also very possible. If Vortex gets that Quake, Vortex does know that TR is the front of the TR is locked by the Quake. Of course, again, you don't need the Quake to get into TR and HMG. You can clip into the middle or even Laser Bridge, although that is out of logic. But being able to have a medallion for the front of TR can make routing TR easier in some cases. Or just simply more straightforward sometimes. Okay, we'll see where Vortex goes here. My guess is GT, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, looks like GT here. Another gross thing, because we can go to Ice Palace in logic. You don't need a fire source to logically go. You're not gonna do Spike Cave Vortex? Come on. And although that's not even logic yet, we don't have a Cape or Borna yet, so it would be a little bit odd to do now. Especially when you have almost all GT to do. If GT doesn't give us some useful items here soon, this is also really know that you don't get an early big key. Well, hopefully you get it after the Ice Armos here. Because otherwise, big chest would be isolated. Because you can check big chest obviously right after you do Ice Armos. So big keys in compass, and that's a little more annoying, actually. Well. Yeah, it's more annoying. And you can't do the climb yet. Oh, we did get Bombos. Bombos in Rando's room. I did not even see that. And there's the big key. Okay, so we can check the big chest now, so that's not isolated. That's nice. We do a Bombo, so now we can go to Mire, and we can full clear it. And that also gives us logical access to Hera and the hammer, because Hera Pot's not actually in logic in HMG, which might sound weird, but that's actually how it is. They logically expect you to clip into Hera from Mire. Although also Hera was vanilla. Never mind. Hera was vanilla, I forget, with small key and big key, so ignore that last part. Hammer's been logic for a while. Never mind. But we can go to Mire now. 2 items in there, we can beat that for another crystal. And later on, when we get flippers, that means we'll have access to Swamp Palace as well. That also makes Ice Palace less of an annoying play, because now you can actually full clear Ice Palace. So Ice Palace, the entire dungeon is now in logic. So Pendant Ice could definitely be an answer for our Fire Rod or Flippers today, being that you don't have a huge amount of checks left to find those items. I mean, we still have a handful or 2 of checks, obviously, that we haven't seen from either player, and our items could definitely be in those locations. But Ice Palace is looking like a high possibility if GT Climb and Mire don't have anything. I think M2 was looking for hook shot there. Never mind, they were looking for the bomb. Okay, they went to the safety door. This is a smart play. Health's a little low. Might as well take the health, make it safe. 3 hearts is a little scary. Personally here, I would prefer to find flippers for Fire Rod. Because if you get a Fire Rod, that opens up Compass from GT, Skullwoods. It opens up all of TR completely, and even beating it. And that opens up PED. It is more annoying. Whereas the flippers, that lets you get into Swamp, do a lot of nice checks, and it doesn't open up, TR all the way. So I personally prefer flippers first, but we'll see which one we find first. The other nice news for Vortex is that they can easily do Pyramid after they beat GT. So they can do those Pyramid checks they haven't done if they want to. So that'd be nice, routing-wise. Okay, what items does the climb have? Do we have Fire Rod or Flippers here? Could we have Powder? That's another logical check we can do. We have Ether. Okay, we didn't need that, but we have it. Okay, so nothing of use. We can check Powder now. And it's in logic because we do have Hammer. As HMG still expects you to have Hammer or Mirror logically to do Magic Bat. But you can Secrets Break it very easily with none of those things. Okay, we still have 1 more item to get. So far, nothing we really need. And money. Okay, so unless the powder leads to progression, climb didn't have any progression we needed. Obviously, we do have to do this. We still have to do the climb to open up the hole to Ganon to beat them later at the end of the game. So this is required. But obviously, we would have liked to have seen progression on the climb, as we still need Fire Rod and Flippers. But I expect the players... Vortex might do Pyramid checks after GT, because they haven't done those yet. EM2 has done those, so I expect EM2 will probably go to Mire now, and beat that dungeon and get the 2 items. The only thing that sucks about that is if you don't get Flippers in Mire, then you probably will have to set up a different... Then potentially your clipping the Swamp gets more messy, but, well... Actually, no, you probably still wouldn't care, because you're going to do the Swamp thing later. You'll save and quit and set up your dam pull. So yeah, you really don't care about that actually. You really don't care. So maybe Mario will have progression. If not, we'll have to we'll have to dive potentially Crystal Skull Ruins, which we have not been to. We could dive in Full Clear Ice Palace. We could go do a decent bit of Turtle Rock, possibly. We have no Fire Rod to put Roller Room in Logic, which could limit our keys, maybe, but also might not. So we're getting down to some of the grosser options remaining for these flippers and Fire Rod. Also, yeah, very good Aga fight. That was a nice double triple from M2. And yeah, M2 going to Mayu here. So we'll see what these two items give us. And if they don't pay off, we still get a crystal out of it. But obviously, we want a Fire Rod or flippers. Overall, though, this hasn't been too bad of a seed. The hammer wasn't too bad of a location. Same with hookshot, flute. We've got a pretty nice pearl and mitts and bow and lamp. The seed's given us and Samaria. We've gotten a lot of nice items early on, so it hasn't been like a terribly slow seed, or like really awful for routing. You've had a lot of like nice items to really speed up the seed and make your routing really easy. The frustrating part now is just rare the last two Go Mode items. But that's pretty common for HMG, where you get everything you need like half an hour in, and then you have like one item or two items that you're looking for another 40, 60 minutes, depending on how gross they are, or how you route. Okay, looks like it'll be a 3-2-1 for Vortex. Yep, still pretty solid Aga fight. Still pretty solid. Yeah, I think we got a shield here at MM2. On MM2 side. So we only have one item left remaining here in Meyer. We don't have a big key yet, so we can't check that yet. Need that first. There was the big key we wanted. Now we can go back and check that chest. Or not. Okay. Oh, because they have to M2 had to reset the room because it was the same super tile, so the tiles were still falling, so this makes sense. You have to reset the room first. Yeah, that makes sense. And M2 will go ahead and beat the dungeon. See if we get the second item on the boss. I think we didn't do cutscene chest yet. So item could be there. And then Vortex will follow suit. Will also do the Meyer dungeon, which makes sense. You have Bombos, it's a crystal dungeon, 2 items to find here as well. Very reasonable play. And then after this, you'd start picking the gross checks. So we'll see where both players go after this. Another option could be, I think you probably do Magic Bat soon. Because of the checks you have remaining, that one's not as gross. So we have Magic Bat. We haven't seen any of Skullwoods. We've not seen any of Ice Palace. We haven't seen any of Turtle Rock. We haven't seen any of Pins in Eastern Palace. We haven't seen Magic Bat, as I mentioned. We have not seen Purple Chest. Anything else we haven't done that's logically available? We've not seen Spike Cape, but that's not in logic yet still. We don't have an invincibility item. We have no mirror, which also means we can't do Mimic's Cave. So yeah. Basically we can dive the pendant dungeons. We can go to Skull Woods. We have Magic Bat, we have Purple Chest. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have. Okay, I think that means there's an item in Big Chest if I'm following right. I think M2 didn't do cutscene chest left, and I think they have an item left. Yes, we need Fire Rod and Flippers. We need Flippers for Swamp, and we need Fire Rod for Skull Woods. And then we're on Go Mode. Okay, maybe M2 did get both items, or I just isn't checking the other item. Probably got both items, and I just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I like this new Magic Bat. After you do a main check, this is a quick one. It does got in logic recently because you got the pattern on the climb of GT. I think you do this really quickly before you start diving pendants or crystal scores without a fire rod. Makes a lot of sense to me. Cleaning up the faster checks before you start making those big dives. Alright, that's a pretty good point. MM2 and Vertex here in a moment could go ahead and open up the book. Oh my god. Fetch crest to fetch crest. Even HMG, you can't get away from the stupid fetch crest chains. That's gross. What a meme. But yeah, as Mr. Bayer was saying, it would have been pretty smart actually from M2 to go ahead and clip from Maya into Hera, and then Hera into Swamp. Reason you would do that is to have a small key open up the front of Swamp, and you could go ahead and open up the front locked door of Swamp. You wouldn't be able to go back in and then beat Swamp because the dam wouldn't be pulled. You wouldn't have flippers, so you wouldn't beat at the dungeon. So Ether Talbot had nothing. Okay, books still has one chance of being helpful. Okay, MM2 is gonna let us probably do Fight of Escape here. Might also set up the Key Rat while they're here, and they're gonna do Uncle first. But yeah, it would have been good to have opened up Swamp. I'll see if Vertex does that. But in this point in the seed, neither player who has done Fun of Escape, which is a very reasonable thing to have not done. It's slow, and you have so many other options that are like more on your way. But it's definitely one of the things you do once you're at the point later on in the seed. You're like, where are my go mode items? I really want to go dive these pendants and have to pick the right location, or go do these gross other checks I've left behind or just haven't gotten to yet. So I like this play. Yes. The players it can get the Bombos tablet, so M2 can check that whenever they want. It's actually very easy to clip to. So I expect M2 will probably do that somewhat soon. Only reason it's not great because it's like, there's the mushroom, more fresh crests. Okay. That'll be a quick tournament because we have flute, so that's not too rough to check. But M2 could combine it with shovel check, which they have not done. But otherwise, they don't have anything else to combine the Bombos check with, which is probably why they haven't done it yet. When they have these other, like, quicker chunks of bulk checks to do. So, I don't blame them for putting the Bombos shovel check off a little bit. But I think they'll do it with the shovel check, which they haven't done yet. Okay, MM2 is not setting up a Key Rat, so now they have to go open up Swamp. They already used it, the small key in Hera, So they'll either have to go to Meyer to clip into Hera to get the small key, or they will have to go set the key at later. Which I don't blame them. The death will taking a while, so I don't blame them for not doing it yet. Just something to note. Getting a strong plate will be a bit of a pain. Okay, well, Spike Cave's in logic now. It doesn't affect Bumper Cave logic because in overworld glitches or HMG in this situation, you can just clip the Bumper Cave, so you don't care about Cape for that. But you still care about the logic of Cape Obrona for Spike Cave. So it does put Spike Cave into logic now. So we might see that soon. Okay, looks like we will see Bombo's tablet. This makes sense. Yeah, it's not terribly long. I forgot you can flute to 7, so this is not that bad of a check, actually. Not as bad as I was making it out to be. And we see Vertex is going into Eastern Palace here, which neither player has done very reasonably. Okay, Book. So Powder to Book and the Mushroom. All the fetch quests were a complete waste of time. I'm not surprised. Game's mean. Well, Mushroom had the cape, which isn't needed, but it does hint at maybe Spike. It does say that Spike Cave's in logic now, so it can be useful for maybe following logic. That may be helpful, but we don't need the cape at all. And M2 is getting their golden sword now. Yeah, this is probably Ice Palace. M2 could choose to do Zora and Dora's Ledge really quickly, and then do Ice Palace, but yeah, I think this is reasonable. Just go ahead and dive straight into Ice Palace. They will probably will do the clip here at the front, because it is faster if you can get it quickly. Yeah. So this clip does let you get through this first room, which is fire locked, without fire, but it also just it's faster to navigate the dungeon by doing this clip. It gets you further along in Ice Palace, as you'll see in a moment. You'll see it gets you to this room. It's actually faster to do Ice Palace this way if you have this clip available. So that's what M2 is doing it. Speed up Ice Palace a little bit. Okay, they're a little bit low on bombs. That's why they were grabbing that. But they're still gonna go the Icebreaker way a little bit. Well, actually, I believe if you're go moding, it's faster to go the Ice Palace bomb jump away. But since MM2 does not actually care about beating the dungeon, they're only here to get items. They're gonna check out the chests because they just care about the items right now. They just want to know where's my fire rod, where are my flippers. So that's what they're focused on. Also, Vertex did not choose to beat Eastern. I did not see if they got all 3 items, but regardless of whether there was an item on Armos or not, I don't blame them for not beating it. You have some somewhat faster options, but of course, if there was an item on Armos, they didn't get all 3 items, that would be really annoying. If that's what progression is later on. Okay, Magic Bat for Vertex now. So then they'll probably get the book, and then go on that chain of fetch quests that M2 just finished a little bit ago. Okay, we got Fire Rod and Icebreaker. I looked away. Too busy reading chat, my bad. Okay, that's really good. So now we can do Skull Woods. We can do Compass from GT. We can do more of TR. Heads and Logic now. Green Pendants and Logic with TR. So that was one of our 2 items. And normally, but I agree with M2 here, finishing up the dungeon, get all 3 items. Maybe not beat it. That's a question mark, because Ped's probably not the answer. You still have enough other things available to you that it'd be kind of crazy to go that hard on Ped at this moment, but it's a possibility. So if you can get the 3rd item without beating the boss, you probably just leave here. Vortex, unfortunately, is going to Skull Woods. Flippers could be here, but unfortunate for them, they can't combine this with the Fire Rod they don't have yet. Yeah, laser bridge is definitely okay. MM2 got all 3 items. I don't blame them for leaving. Unless you're betting on Ped at this point, there's no reason to be Ice Palace there, and you have way more checks left before Ped. Like I personally would also leave there. You have too many other options for your flippers to be. M2 is gonna do Skull Woods. Fortunately for them, they can full clear it now. For Vortex, the double dip Skull Woods later. I mean, that's not Vortex's fault. They just picked the wrong pendant, or the wrong the wrong pendant / non-clearable crystal dungeon. You know, they picked the wrong place to go. It's unlucky. Although I probably would have picked Ice Palace as well in the situation. Being that there's more items and it's a pendant, so you're not going to have to double dip it later like you would potentially have to with Skullwoods. And Vortex now will check the big chest. Now they have that big key. And the big key was in front. Never mind, big key was in front. I'm wrong again. Yeah, I was right there. It had nothing. So Vortex got nothing out of Skullwoods, unfortunately. So flippers are not there. They could be in the back. I think we still haven't seen one of the items. Where is Vortex going? Maybe hammer pegs and purple chest, I think. Yeah. We have not seen purple chest. We did see hammer pegs from MM2 earlier. It was a sword. So Vortex here will get their next sword. And then they'll probably do a purple chest, which we have not seen. No mirror either. We don't need mirror, but it has made our routing a lot more annoying. We've had to do a lot more save and quits. Other than that, the seed was pretty nice about giving us like good mobility items to like speed things up and reduce the amount of clips we had to do. But the lack of a mirror has been a bit annoying. Also, okay, Vortex is fluting. Okay. So we'll finally find out what purple chest has. Does it have our flippers? Nope, but it has a Arcana Borna. We could now, for both our players, Spike Caves and Logic, but with a different item. Of course, we didn't need those invincibility items to actually do Spike Cave. But I don't blame either player for not doing Spike Cave yet. When you have areas where you can go and do a lot more checks faster, arguably. So Vortex will do Ice Palace here, and we'll get their Fire Rod. Probably be a bit annoyed that Fire Rod was here, and they just went to Skull Woods. But they'll be happy to have the Fire Rod. So then they'll probably go back to Skull Woods, clear that out, get whatever items are in the back. And yeah, then we'll see what both of our players decide to do after this. Obviously, we still have we have all of Turtle Rock. No one's been at Turtle Rock. Vortex did go to Eastern Palace. MM2 has not been there. I don't know if we saw all the items. Obviously, Vortex chose not to beat the dungeon. We still have Compass Room and GT as well, which is also a decent option with the Fire Rod. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, GT Compass Room. I expect that or TR. But MM2 could also go to Eastern Palace. But I think I'd personally pick TR or GT Compass. I'd probably do GT Compass first if I were them. Just knock that out. So that way, if I'm going to Turtle Rock, I can more easily justify diving deeper and potentially beating the dungeon just to get the green pendant if like Laser Bridge isn't my answer for flippers. That's what I would do. Okay, what's in Bridge Chest? Nope, not here either. Okay. So we're running out of places for these flippers to be. Okay, MM2 just needs these flippers. They already have GT beaten, as does Vortex. They have MM2 has 6 crystals. Vortex. Look at the fire rod here in a moment. Okay, they already have it because it was in Icebreaker room. So Vortex just got the fire rod. So Vortex will go beat Skullwoods. Okay, MM2 is going to Eastern Palace, which... Oh, they haven't done back of Saha yet. Oh. Yeah, they haven't done this. Okay, well, we're probably going to see Eastern as well here, but maybe not. I could see it going either way, but they don't do Eastern yet. But if you're going to do Eastern, you do it now. But you don't have to. You could go up to GT or TR. Okay. I don't blame MM2. It's not unreasonable to just... Yeah, like it's kind of surprising that MM2 waited as long to do Saha, especially when you have Flute. But I don't blame them for not doing Eastern there. You can flute back later if you want to do it at a later point. And you probably think, well, my opponents may have gone there sooner. I think I might prefer to go to TR or GT, which may be more fire rod locked, which is an item everyone got kind of late, or would have gotten late in the seed, being that it was in Pendant Ice Palace. Okay, so MM2 is going to TR first, so not GT. So we'll see if flippers are in GT or TR, because TR has 5 items in it. We don't have mirror, so we can't do Mimic Cave. And then we also have Green Pendant Tournament available if we beat TR. I did notice earlier, MM2 came up earlier to do Hookshot Cave, and then went down to Catfish. They did skip Super Bunny, so now they're cleaning that up. I guess they just chose not to do it earlier, because they thought it was a bit slow, or maybe they just forgot. I'm not sure which. I would believe either scenario. But regardless, Super Bunny wasn't the answer. Okay, now CTR. Yeah, pretty good option to come in from the middle. That's my preference. That's a lot of people's preference. Yeah. So we don't have a big key or a small key, so we can't go to the back yet. We could have clipped to the back out of logic. So of note, Vortex is grabbing the pendant in Ice Palace, so if, on the low chance, Ped's required, that would Vortex 1 pendant ahead. However, Vortex already went to Eastern and didn't beat it, so that's arguably some time loss in the pendant situation for Vortex. But again, most likely, Ped's not the answer. We still have so many more options still between GT Compass Room, TR, and Green Pendant here. So what's the last? We have Green Pendant Tournament, we have Ped, we have all of TR. We might have 1 tick left in Eastern. I'm not sure. I didn't count Vortex's items earlier. Do we have anything else? I want to say no. I think that's it. Oh, I see, Mr. Body. Okay, so the point was to do that Tam Swim back up mountain. Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with that trick, but that makes sense to me. I can understand that, because you could have easily combined that with other options at the time. And there's flippers right at the front of TR. And Compass Chest, not even a laser bridge. So MM2 is in go mode. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Like, those have been available for a long time, because we got Samaria very early on. But that's the thing about HMG. And also, the spheres are so large, you have so many options, that's often hard to pick the, magically correct option. So completely reasonable that our players didn't check TR quite yet. Especially with the late Fire Rod, it didn't seem as great an option to go to Turtle Rock versus other places, so the late flippers, aren't too shocking. So it looks like MM2 is just gonna... Okay, MM2 is gonna just float here away. So they're setting up the dam, and then now they have to clip in. Now they don't have a key set up, because they already used their key in Hera. They're not set up, I don't believe, for a key rat yet. Okay. Yeah, they had it. Okay. What is M2 doing? Are they looking for a mirror to make the lives easier? I'm trying to figure this one out. Because they just need to clip into Swamp and then beat the game. At this point, you either go to Myra and clip into Hera and then to Swamp to have your extra key. Or you have to go set up the key rat to set up a key steal to get a key for Swamp. So either you flute to Mayo now, or to Hera and then clip into... Well, actually, you have to go to Escape first, set up the key rat, then go to Hera and set up your clip to key steal. Yeah, I agree, Mike. My best guess is a mirror to make things a little bit easier, but even then, that's like negligible. Yeah, okay. This is what I would expect from MM2. Like you either just clip from Meyer into Hera into Swamp for your key, but it looks like MM2 will set up the key rat steal. I'd be interested in knowing. Yeah, it's probably just a familiarity for MM2 with mirrorless Swamp. I'd probably relate to that a little bit, but you just save and quit. You just pull the dam, you immediately save and quit. Don't go back to that overworld. Basically, from that, you just have to go straight to Mountain. So you save and quit from the dam, and then you get. So even you just have key rat set up now. Can now steal a key from Escape by clipping there from Hera, and this means that Vertex is not far behind. They already have key rat set up. So we actually have an even race at this point. This is completely even. Okay, Vertex is going to Meyer. No, oh no. Okay, Vertex is a bit behind. They have not pulled the dam switch yet. So Vertex has to do that. Oh yeah, MM2 did not pull the drain. Did MM2 pull the drain on Swamp? Or did they not realize that they may not know that they don't have it set, because they pulled it, but then they fluted a couple other spots, and then we did set the key rat. Did they go back and pull the dam switch again after they did the key rat setup? Or, I mean, well, going to have, yeah. So they're gonna still have the key here from when they go back to Hera later, so they won't have to redo this key rat steal. And they're gonna still get Swamp open. They will still get Swamp open. Okay, they saved and quit, so they probably realize. No, they don't want a death warp. They don't want a death warp. That's what it is. That actually makes sense. Okay, they're fluting. Looks like they are gonna set up Swamp. Okay, so they're good. I do think Vortex is now ahead because they already got. I think they already have their key. They already pulled the dam switch, so now Vortex is ahead here. It looks like Vortex just has a little bit more familiarity with this particular part of HMG, so it's got a little bit of a time lead here. So, interesting race back and forth here, but this does put Vortex in the lead here, assuming this goes well, and there aren't any further issues for our runners. Yeah, if you're gonna save and quit after grabbing the key rat, which makes sense. You don't have mirror. A death loop takes a while. It's understandable. I can see why M2 did it the way that they did it. I mean, they could just make me sad and just pull the damn switch. They could do it. And then I'll be very sad. And they can waste 20 seconds. Okay. MM2 got the clip a lot faster, so now it's Vertex. Not cool. Okay, I'm on MM2 side here. See, it was totally even, and one of them here is not doing Specky clip, the me clip, and they're paying the price. Deserved. Vertex, I was gonna say it, you deserve that. Though I have no sympathy here. Deserved. I mean, the clip is like way harder. Specky clip is like way harder than all the other tricks in the game. I get why Vertex wouldn't go for it, you know? It's just real tough. Real tough trick. But yeah, this would actually be hilarious. And that's actually what... Okay, they both remember to open the door with the key, so that's good. We won't have any shenanigans. Just one of them not opening the door and forgetting about it. But that's... Okay. Okay, so here we're going to see... Specky clip, or as I'll call it, the me clip. Save 20 seconds. That setup was found by Lin and Goomba, so very nice job by them finding that. Makes it really easy. And yeah, MM2 and Vortex can just go mode. But depending on execution, how the Argus fights go, like Vortex is still in this. Could still beat MM2 here. But after we beat Argus here, both of the players have to book it to Ganon and finish off the game. So almost at the end. Wait, did Vertex get silvers? What chest were they in? I did not notice that. Where were they at? Were they in flooded room? Oh my god. Oh, the first chest? Oh, the very first chest of swamp? Okay, Vertex might be in the lead. Yeah, Vertex is in the lead. Essentially. Okay, the Argus is being a little mean. This is gonna be close. Wow, okay. I mean, I don't blame M2 from not opening it. I probably would have skipped it too at this point. But assuming good execution, everything else, Vortex should win this just barely. But you know, there's enough like execution variability here. Also, I do think what Vortex is doing here is probably faster to go to Ganon. I would think this is faster what Vortex is doing. Oh yeah, but you got the fake Dark World situation, so you have to go back to the portal. But still, after you have that though, is it faster than anymore? Maybe not. It might be slower now. It's probably still faster though. Without no saving quit, no flute. This is probably faster. Yeah, this is faster, I would think. Even at worst, I would think. But I think what Vortex is doing is a smidge faster. Actually, yeah, he's barely behind now. That's bad news for M2. So Vortex was definitely faster, no question. Way faster, actually. Faster than I was thinking it was. That's another big time improvement for Vortex. So between the silvers and picking the better path to Ganon, I mean, Vortex is what, 5 seconds behind? Oh, yeah, M2 also got Skull Rock, which added a few seconds as well. Always annoying to get that bad RNG. So, yeah, Vortex did a better route to Ganon, had a little bit better RNG with no Skull Rocks, and got the silvers, more importantly than anything else. Whereas MM2 did the clip, which takes some time. So, very back and forth ending to this race. But of course, Vortex still has to execute here to get the lead that we expect him to get. Yeah, Vortex is barely behind. They should actually finish like 20, 30 seconds sooner than MM2. If not a little bit more than that. Okay, that was a little close for Vortex. I mean, I know he's probably fine there, but it's a little scary to watch. GG's to Vortex, who will take first on the restream. And third overall out of 9 runners. So very good placement. There are some very good runners in this race. So GG's to Vortex. Good job fighting those silvers and taking the right route to Ganon at the end. So GG's to them. And M2 should finish just behind. They're a very good player. They should have no problem finishing this out. But yeah, silver's making the difference more than anything else. That was such a close finisher. And then M2 also just not be, I think, the most comfortable with the whole, mirrorless swap situation. Like, they knew what to do, but they had to think about it for a little bit, I think. So, and they were hoping maybe get a mirror at some point to maybe just avoid the thinking. So, yeah, but very good race. And GG's to MM2. Very good race by them. So, MM2 finished just behind Vortex, 4th overall amongst the 9 racers. So, 3rd and 4th, very strong placements. They were not that far behind 2nd place, and not too much farther behind 1st place overall. So, a very good race. I assume one or both of them should be joining us here soon. I see Vortex in the waiting room. So hopefully they'll be in the actual... Hey, Vortex. GG's.
Oh, sec.
Okay, I hear you now.
Oh, wait. Did I message the right person?
Honey.
But GG's, Vortex.
There. Can I hear now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, GG's.
Right. Well, thank you. That was,
Yeah, how did you feel about that race and that seed?
I felt mostly relieved. Like, just in general, like, the last couple seeds I've played a lot worse than that. I didn't play particularly well, but there were a couple stupid brain fart mistakes with clips and stuff that I soft locked myself.
I think we can all wait for that in HMG. Yeah.
Yeah. But, and like, sure, I wish I had done a couple things in a different order, but it's really hard to complain about a finish like this. So
Yeah, I mean, third overall, it's really good, and also welcome in MM2. Congrats on 4th, and it was a very close race to watch. Back and forth at the end, actually. So
yeah, GG's. I feel kind of silly about how I hate to say through, but I did kind of throw at the end, because I just wasn't prepared for the situation. Because I found flippers and I was like, all right, go mode, and then I failed to realize how I was gonna approach doing swamp on that situation when I already spent the Hera small.
yeah, the Hera small was worrying me after I got Bombos, because like I knew that the big key was in the basement and it was an accessible item.
Yeah, I just spent the small key when I first went to Hera at the beginning of the game, and I climbed Hera on 3 hearts green mail with fighter sword and got hammer really early, which I felt decent about.
I took a really long time to go anywhere that had a sword. So like I just didn't touch any of Hera for quite a while. I actually there were 2 separate times that I was starting to make the Hyrule Castle play, and I realized as I was heading there, oh, I can clear Hera. So I just did Dark Cross and got the map and opened the key door, just because I was like, well, I shouldn't spend all the time. This is going to be a dumb death warp, whatever. And then I
Yeah.
did Hera, which I felt good about. And then after I got Fire Rod out of Ice, I should have gone to Skull Woods, and I realized as I was like heading toward TR, I did Ether Tablet. I was like, oh, I should probably do Skull. But I was like, yeah, it's so much more likely that it's in TR, so I saved a little time there.
Yeah, I got my hammer early, like I said, because I got a sword off Graveyard Ledge because I had Graveyard Ledge into Swim Clip to Vacuum Escape really early.
True.
But then I just took forever to do like a bunch of cleanup stuff, like Saha's Hut, Hyrule Castle, obviously, Shovel, the tablets, a couple other random crap. Also, I forgot Super Bunny Cave when I was doing Darkest Mountain, so I did Hookshot Cave and then did Catfish DMD. And then I was like, while I was going down, I was like, crap, I forgot Super Bunny, so I spent like a minute or two trying to swim clip back up to Dark Death Mountain to do Super Bunny and ended up having to bail on that. Then I just ended up doing Super Bunny with TR, which wasn't like the worst thing in the world since it didn't have anything, but it was still just annoying.
Yeah, I felt very bad getting the flute. Because I had when I got Old Man right at the beginning, I tried to clip up to Hera and just died to boulders, and I was like, I am just like, I don't have a weapon, I don't have I'm just not gonna worry about it. And I ended up going to CAC and like felt decent about the glove, and then I saw the flute and I was like, well, most other people probably made one trip to CAC. So
I mean, most people make one trip to CAC because flute sucks and glitches. It's nice if you're in CAC already, then you can activate it and it's fine. But I don't like to prioritize going to CAC just to activate the flute and maybe like do a one-off or something. Clips get you so many places.
I hadn't done any of South Shore Ice Rod Cave when I got it, so I was like, I think I was gonna do because I went to Pod right after getting it, which Pod felt great.
Yeah, same.
Early.
Yeah.
But so after I ended up doing, I was gonna do Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb, and I just like jumped off the bottom instead of the side for that, and I was like, well, I'm this close to CAC, so I'm just gonna go activate it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I got the mitts and felt kind of bad about feeling so good about the gloves, but
yeah, I did South Shore after I did like my early stuff. Then after that, I got my lamp. Then I did all of Death Mountain, and then I was like, okay, I'll do Pod, which I did, and then after that, I did CAC and Desert. Got my Pearl. Oh, then after that, I think I clipped to Mire Shed. Actually, no, I flew to Mire Shed. Then I did like Stumpy Dig Game. Thieves, then I grabbed the Smith and did Hype Pyramid stuff. Then I turned the Smith and did King's Tomb, which I actually forgot I was going to do King's Tomb. There were a couple of forgetting things in that loop, and then after that, I think I eventually just pulled the trigger on GT because I had everything that I needed for that except for Fire Rod, and I also had Lamp. But I didn't end up actually doing right side because I wasn't too confident in the bomb jump, and I had like 3 or 4 bombs.
Well, I didn't do it because I was Fire Rod and Flippers for Go. I was like, there's such a low chance that Flippers.
Yeah, exactly. There. That's also why. That's like what also convinced me not to do it is because after I found I came in Fire Rod, Bombos, Flippers Go, and then I found Bombos, and I was like, all right, only Flippers can be there. It's 3. It ended up being 3 checks in Compass, so I was like, let's just not bother, and if Flippers are there, oh well, I lose.
I had the Compass.
Wait, okay, yeah, I might be mistracking things.
Yeah, because I checked right before Ega 2 just to know exactly how many items were left.
Okay, no, I didn't check.
But the one thing I feel bad about putting off as long as I did was ice, like with those mitts, and that being. I feel like with the newer logic, the mitts are a much stronger pull to ice than they.
Yeah, I feel
because that's one of the only things that like opens, and like I don't know, I had the cane stuff to do ice with like reasonably early. Like, I kind of wish I'd chosen it over Eastern.
Yeah, I did ice before Eastern, but I did like I said, I did a bunch of random overworld before ice. I feel like what kept me out of ice for so long was Bombos. Well, the lack of Bombos Fire Rod. Just because, like, yeah, you can do the bomb clip, and that's all well and great, but at the end of the day, you're still gonna orphan Freezor Chest and Cold Stare unless you find Fire Rod Bombos in ice. I don't like betting.
Wouldn't have mattered. Wouldn't have mattered this seed. I skipped Ice Tea because I left the switch hit, and then the key. I failed the bomb jump over to Ice Tea, and I was just like, well, I'll just kill Cold Stare.
Yeah, makes sense.
50-50.
Yeah, I did Ice Tea for the item. It was like $50 or something. It was not worth.
Eastern felt nice because it was 3 items in a row. It felt bad because I was like, oh, I'll do this before Saha. And then I was like, wait, if I don't finish it, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so
I just quit and came back.
What else did you have left for Mirror? Because I'm assuming it's in Swamp or Right Side GT at this point. I guess it could also
I had Bombos and Escape, and I didn't do. I had Spike, and I didn't. I did one check in TR. I did the front first because I was like, I have the medallion. I got this Fire Rod. It would have been really easy for somebody to come to TR earlier without it.
Yeah, I did TR from the middle, which probably lost me the race. But I won't like blame it for that. I have other things to blame it on. But
I thought about it. I didn't really want to. Like, I knew if I went in through the front, I could get everything probably more quickly. Like, I didn't want to like Death Warp, do silly stuff. Like, I wasn't gonna start at the bottom and kill Trinex because it's a pendant, and I'm.
Yeah, that's silly, but yeah, I figured the Death Warp wouldn't be too bad because of the rollers. They're like, even with Blue Mail, a billion hearts, they're still doing like 2 or 3 hearts a pop. So I can't remember.
I thought about it, but I was just like, well, let's just try.
Yeah,
paid off.
Yeah, it's a fine call.
I did a few things I wanted to ask that I noticed in the seed. First of all, this was super back and forth. Pretty much the whole race, though, MM2 did have a strong lead up until the end. You know, the issues with getting in the swamp added up a lot. And then when you guys actually clipped into swamp from Hera, you were virtually tied at that moment, like within a second or so.
Oh, dang.
But Vortex, you didn't do the clip. So that's so the MM2 got a huge lead. But then Vortex got the silvers out of the first chest, which MM2 did not.
Wow.
Which is actually why Vortex won. He would have lost by like 5 seconds without the silvers. It would have been almost even, but with Vortex slightly behind. So assuming no execution differences, it would have been MM2's game. But also Vortex took the faster route to Ganon, which was he just walked up and took the portal at 5 or at 4, swamp. It was MM2, you saved and quit and flew to 5 and then walked over. And Vortex also got a lot of time gain, maybe another 10 seconds or so back on you from doing that. So between that and the silvers, Vortex was able to clutch it out.
I feel like, I feel like the fastest thing to do is probably like screen transition in Flute to 5, because Flute to 5 is normally faster. Although I guess from the swamp screen, you're pretty close to the portal.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, now that I'm
Flute to 7 versus Flute to 4, it only loses a couple seconds. So like, if you miss Flute to 7 to swamp, or like, you're not gonna miss Flute, but like, you should stay there. But I wasn't thinking about fake Dark World. I was like, oh yeah, swamp. So like, if I had mirror, I would just have mirrored and done it. But, well, I wouldn't have because I wasn't thinking of a fake Dark World, I guess. But
yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about doing checks I didn't need to do, and that included front of swamp. Oh well.
I almost got it like on the way out of swamp, which made me like, okay, I'll just I killed 2 of them dashing down. And I was like, well, I was gonna open it in cave state if I just like bash through because like I don't care about the.
Yeah, in a previous seed, I did open it in Hera State, and it was the big key, and then I was like, and then I felt really bad because then you just don't get to open the Swamp Big Chest, and you're very sad. So so I learned my lesson and passed. Oh well.
Well, there I was in Go. I'm not that worried about silvers, so I was like, well,
Yeah, me neither.
if I was gonna open it, like I wasn't gonna go out of my way, but I memed it and paid off, I guess.
Yeah, GG's. But yeah, I mean, I've said my piece. Well played, GG's. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, same. Gonna take off here.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
guys.
restream. Thanks for tracking, and
Oh yeah,
thanks for the race.
yeah, very much. Thanks to Specs and Buyer for comms and tracking.
Thank you guys for the great race. And yes, thanks to Mr. Byer for last minute being able to track this race instead of racing in it. And thanks everyone at Speed Gaming for this restream and for getting everything set up. And yeah, I think that's it for all of us here at Speed Gaming. And yeah, thanks again everyone for watching. It was a fun race to watch. And yeah, everyone have a nice day, evening, morning, whatever it is.